Hello everyone, I Nikhil welcome you to Vigyan Bharat again and now on the website of GATE 2024 the syllabus of the paper Data Science and Artificial Intelligence has been uploaded. So in this video we're going to see thoroughly about the syllabus for this examination and we'll see from different aspects how this paper can also be very useful for students, particularly what I have found from mathematics background, how even they can also attempt to give this examination and score well. So we see here the first subject is probability and statistics. And under probability and statistics, if we start from here, like they start from basics of counting, permutation combinations, probability axioms, sample spaces, independent events, mutually exclusive events. Then there comes marginal, conditional, and joint probability, very important Bayes theorem, conditional expectation, variance, mean, mode, standard deviation, correlation, covariance. So till here, if you see even before before when the random variable starts, here it is just basic probability. This is just the basic probability. In addition, there are some standards results, but this is not something very advanced topic. From here, if you see now they start begin with real probability, what we call as random variables, and from random variables, if you see before they jump into distribution function. So this is the basics of random variables, discrete random variables, probability mass functions. From here they start the distributions now, uniform, Bernoulli distribution, binomial distribution. These all three are discrete distributions, discrete, which we often call as probability mass functions or discrete random variable. Then they move to continuous random variables. And after defining continuous random variables, they are now talking about their distributions of various standard probability distributions like uniform, exponential, Poisson, normal, which is very important, standard normal. Here are some again some important distributions: t distribution, chi-square distribution. This is cumulative distribution function, also known as CDF. Often in examination, many problems can be solved using CDF itself. So this concept is very important. Conditional PDFs, very important theorems in probability and statistics called the central limit theorem, confidence interval, Z test, T test, chi-square test. So if we see all over the probability and statistics part, it is more sort of from like basics of probability, then they go with random variables, then all the distributions they have talked about. Probability distributions are very important here. And finally, they conclude with some standard theorems and some standard tests. So this can be covered like, quite easily. It's not something very extensive, but yeah, it will require some time. It can be covered. In this video, I'm going to only discuss about the syllabus part of this paper. Maybe in another video, I'll talk about specifically some particular subject from here they can be covered. Next, if we talk about linear algebra, like all the mathematics students are very familiar with this topic. Vector spaces, subspaces, linear dependence, independence of vectors, matrices, projection matrix, orthogonal matrix, idempotent matrix, partition matrix, their properties, quadratic forms. So all this, the linear algebra paper, if we see in the end here, they have talked about eigenvalue, eigenvectors, determinant triangularity, projections, and decompositions like value decomposition and singular value decomposition. So they talk about like in all we see vector space is the major part. Then they begin with matrices, then system of linear equations, followed by eigenvalue, eigenvectors, and finally the decomposition. So it's, yeah, one semester course of linear algebra. It can be covered. There's still a lot of time for GATE 2024. Then calculus and optimization. In this, if we see, we talk about first function of a single variable. That is, by this they mean simple basic function defined say from set of real numbers to real numbers. just a function of single variable. Then they talk about limit, continuity, differentiability, Taylor series, maximum, minimum. So in calculus, they are just talking about the function of single variable. There's nowhere function of multi-variable, which we often see if in the syllabus of GATE mathematics paper. It's there, but it's not here. So it's a good thing to be covered. Now, this is something important to maybe new also for students from mathematics background. Like they, everyone is now these days are doing programming in Python and these basic data structures. But the algorithm part of it, we talk about from the basic sorting algorithms like selection sort, bubble sort, and such to sort a say array or array of numbers. So these algorithms are often taught to in a very elementary course in computer science, particularly. So for this, mathematics students need to put a lot of effort, but can be covered easily. And of course, data structure algorithms, a lot of resources are there these days to cover this subject. This is something very new to, I think, particularly for mathematics people. I'll come to this part later. I'll talk first about machine learning. In now, these times, like machine learning is something which, when someone wants to even get a job or they want to pursue research, so everyone is, wherever you are from mathematics or some other domain, they are trying to incorporate machine learning in their day-to-day life as well as in their academia and research. So this the topics if I see like they have covered from the elementary very basics supervised learning, and in that they talk about regression, classification problems, simple linear regression, multiple linear regression. So regression is something like if you see the idea is just to they're given some points say in R2 and the idea is to fit a curve that best fits these points. So that is the idea of regression. If it is linear regression, the idea is to fit a line if we are in R2, if we are in higher dimension then hyperplane. So I think for mathematics people they can easily go with these topics. And after that there are some they have introduced like neural networks, and it's a, like you can say at the end there become dimension reduction techniques. So all are like a one semester course in machine learning that one has to follow but can be done. Finally, they talk about topics for artificial intelligence and database management system and warehousing. So if I see this topic for machine learning, programming and data structures, calculus, linear algebra, and property sets, so this part of the syllabus is something which is in the reach of students, particularly from the mathematics, as well as like if you see for the students who are from background from CS and statistics, so this is easily reachable for them. I'll talk more about this in the next video.